part of ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Today it's a rematch of last year's title game between the Liberty Flames and the Lipscomb Bisons, winner to the NCAA tournament. And they are ready for action here today in the Vine Center to see if their Flames can make it back-to-back tournament appearances. And here's how we got to this point. Liberty with close wins over NJIT and Stetson. Lipscomb with a 5-point win over Florida Gulf Coast and an upset win at the buzzer at North Florida. And we welcome you to Lynchburg, Virginia, everyone. Championship week, a lot of fun this time of the year. Excited to bring this one to you, Mike Corey and John Crispin. How about these two teams playing really well? They've been here before, and both with postseason success last year.
Yeah, you consider what these teams were able to accomplish last season. Liberty wins the ASUN championship. They go on to an NCAA tournament victory against Mississippi State. And then Lipscomb, an NIT Final Four. These are two programs that understand what it takes to win. They have winning expectations and winning habits. And you understand you have to have personnel to match. Caleb Homesley, Player of the Year in the ASUN, has been terrific. And I think a lot about the similarities to UVA. Obviously, Tony Bennett and Richie McKay. They understand how to defend, but at the same time, Caleb Homesley, to me, is the DeAndre Hunter of this Liberty program. He can score when his team needs a bucket, and they're going to need a lot of those tonight. Lipscomb, on the other hand, they're going to rely on the bigs. ASUN has been terrific, averaging about 33.5 points a game, 16.5 rebounds a game over the last two games in the ASUN tournament. He's been dominant, which means Liberty's got to play defense early, win the position battle, and you may win the game.
All right, here's what's at stake today. There'd be a second consecutive trip to the NCAA tournament if Liberty gets this win, be their fifth all-time. Lipscomb looking to go back for the first time since 2018. That was their first ever appearance. They went Division I in the 2004-2005 season.
That's a good what's at stake, right?
Yeah.
That's a fun time of year, brother. Let's have fun.
How about this atmosphere here today in the Vine Center? 30 years of this building, and they're trying to go to 30 wins of the season for Liberty. Our officials today, Bart Lennox, Steven Anderson, and Jason Baker. And here is Asajala, and quickly a double team comes down on him. And now a three, Greg Jones, and he gets the scoring started as we give you the Liberty starting five here today.
What's up, guys? It's Caleb Homesley here. Charlotte, North Carolina, starting at the 4, a.k.a. Lolo. Then we got at the 1, my boy Georgie Pacheco Ortiz from Ponce, Puerto Rico, a.k.a. Poppy. And we got starting at 2, Darius McGee, a.k.a. Mick 3. Then at the 3-man, we got Elijah Cuffee, a.k.a. Cuffman. And then at the 5, Big Dog, Scotty James from Tarpon Springs, Florida. We call him Scott Dog.
And that was Scotty James that put the basket in for Liberty as we get to the Lipscomb starting five here today.
What's up, man? It's Andrew Fleming, starting guard for the Lipscomb Bisons. Inside down low, I got my big man, ASUN, a.k.a. the 40-piece Nugget.
At the 2, we got Miles Miller, my boy from Meridian, Mississippi, number 25.
Starting at the 2, we got Greg Jones, a.k.a. Stinky. He can shoot it from all over the court.
Starting at the 1, we got Michael Buckland, a senior leader from High Point, North Carolina, number 3.
Yes, sir.
And Greg Jones has just called for that foul as the basket was made by Scotty James inside.
Well, Scotty James doing a great job on the read. He's going to make ASUN Asajala defend all the way out to the three-point line. The little slip screen action is going to be there. So good decisions for Scotty James are going to get him on the board and put a lot of pressure on that Lipscomb defense.
Here's Miles Miller, gets it into Asajala. And the hook. Rebound by Homesley.
Now, I got to say, showing that double team early made Asajala think. And when you make a guy think he's going to look for where the double's coming from, I like the inconsistency where sometimes you throw it his way, other times you don't. Make him think through this game.
Darius McGee, one of the top shooters on this team for Liberty. For 3. Follows his own shot, almost had it. Instead, it's Greg Jones for the Bisons.
I mean, we've talked about Richie McKay, connection to the UVA program, and Tony Bennett. This team looks a lot like UVA. Is that not Kie Clark on the floor? I mean, I think there's a DeAndre Hunter with Caleb Homesley out there.
7 years as an assistant as Asajala gets the basket on the feed from Fleming. And you're right, how about Liberty second in the nation in scoring defense this season, to your point.
Yeah, behind who? Well, UVA, look, that's exactly what you're going to get. They understand who they are. That's part of their identity. The question is, can they score enough when they need to score the basketball? They're able to do it in the second half of the previous game, but I think it's got to be 40 minutes of good offense and defense to win a championship.
Pass well off the mark. Turnover for Liberty as Richie McKay is now in his second stint at Liberty. 5th consecutive season. Think about this, right, John? The previous 5 years before he got here, they lost 98 games. In his 5 years here in the second stint, they've won 101.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to add anything to that. I mean, figure that out for yourselves, folks.
Asajala, there it is.
And I think Asajala is going to have to do work that 8 to 10 foot range, because if he gets to 5 feet, he's going to get a double. At 8 to 10 foot range, the double's probably going to wait until he gets that ball, the ball bouncing.
They're trying to get it inside to Scotty James, is fronted by Asajala there. Here's Elijah Cuffee. Now over the top. James. Greg Jones. Asajala on the one-on-one with James. Got a lot of bodies down there, though, for the offensive rebounding. Everybody's kind of retreating for Lipscomb here.
I think you've got to play defense a little safer. You don't want to give up anything easy. And you understand how Liberty's going to play this game, and there's no way to just counter by playing fast. You do have to be efficient.
3-ball, Cuffee, that's off the mark. Rebound pulled home by Michael Buckland.
Look, efficiency's not one of my favorite things. I like a game that goes up and down, but when you're talking about winning a championship, you have to do what wins you the basketball game, and I think Lipscomb trusts the ball in the hands of the big man.
The fake from Buckland, kicks it back out. 3-ball on the way, Jones, not there. What kind of game, points-wise, you think we're seeing here today? In the 50s, the 60s? Would it go higher than that?
Well, it's hard to say, because you're always going to have a few possessions where you rattle off 10 points in a 2-minute spurt.
James to the offensive board. Pacheco Ortiz for 3.
Second chance opportunities, best place to look, 3-point line. You get those open looks, you've got to capitalize. The best thing about a made basket for Liberty means you set your defense, you see the basketball, that's when they're at their best.
Back into Asajala, that's the game plan, and why go away from that, right?
I think you still have to show. You can't allow him to rhythm dribble, and gain space. Every time he dribbles, he gains about 2 to 3 feet. 2 dribbles means he's shooting an easy left shoulder right hook.
Already 6 points in the first half here so far for Asajala, and a steal. And here's Fleming, and he got it taken away. And a foul on Greg Jones. That's going to be his second for Lipscomb. Fun start to this ASUN championship as Lenny Acuff is in his first season at Lipscomb. What a job he did at Alabama Huntsville, Division II program for 22 seasons. And now he comes here, John, and they were kind of dead on the water middle of the season, and he just kind of resurrected this group in his first year of the program.
Well, I go back to it. This is a winning program. Their expectations are high. They expect to win at a high level. The problem is you don't have the team that you had last year. So you have to figure out who you're going to be this year, and who they're going to be this year is a dominant inside presence and a solid defense. So if you get the perimeter shots to fall and you have that dominant inside presence, yeah, you have a chance to win this game.
14:35 to play first half. Winner to the NCAA tournament. Lipscomb and Liberty, rematch of last year's title game in which Liberty won on the road in Nashville. This is the 3rd meeting of the season between these two this time around, and they each won on their home floor this season.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing that they each won, because if you're Liberty, you don't want to face a team you beat twice. There's something about it, that 3rd time around, one team's going to make adjustments that the other team likely won't make. So I feel like splitting those games should be helpful for the home team, but in a winner-go-home situation, throw it all out the window.
Welcome everyone to Lynchburg, Virginia. Packed house here in the Vine Center for the ASUN Championship, winner to the NCAA tournament. And for Liberty, they're looking to make it back-to-back. Would be their 5th appearance all time. For Lipscomb, they're trying to make it their 2nd tournament appearance. They went back in 2018. Mike Corey, John Chrisman. Fun start to this ball game so far, John. Let's take a look at how we got to this point.
Well, look, this is a Lipscomb team that they've been successful. I think part of this is the fact that they understand what it takes to win. There are winning habits in there. Same goes for Liberty. Liberty more structure, I would say, similar to the Tony Bennett UVA teams that, you know, Richie McKay's tied to, spent many years there on the bench as an assistant and associate head coach. You're going to see a lot of those similarities here within this game. Pack line defense, more of a defensive focus, less offense, but you've got player of the year in Caleb Homesley for Liberty, who I think at any moment can go for 30 points in a game. Look for him to get started here soon, because the offense for Liberty has not really gotten it rolling outside of Scotty James.
Yeah, the voting was so close with that guy you just saw there, 23 in purple, ASUN for Lipscomb, their top player. Number 1 and number 2 in the ASUN this season in terms of the voting. And here's Homesley. Takes it in and scores it.
Yeah, he's a special player. He is a really special player. There's something about lefties. Lefties always look good when they shoot, but it's a different cover. I don't know how to explain that. It just is.
Ball knocked away, and Liberty comes up with a steal. It's Cuffee, and he is fouled.
And that's going to be my favorite call of the night so far, the afternoon, whatever time of day it is. I don't know, we had a time change. I'm not even sure what time it is. My favorite call of the night is they didn't call the foul right away. They wanted to see if it affected the shot, and it did affect the shot, so you blow the whistle. I know a lot of people out there think that's a terrible call. I love that call. I love the fact that he waited to see if it actually impacted the play or not, because you want a little flow in this game.
That was ASUN's first foul of the day, and this is Elijah Cuffee, who was one of Coach's first recruits. Richie McKay, head coach for the Liberty Flames, as they have the advantage here. With just over 6 minutes gone by, first half. Asajala trying to feed the cutter, and it's intercepted by Homesley.
Asajala's got to be patient. If it's going to be one-on-one, feel it out. Just wait. If he's got room to work, you got to go to work down low. You're one of the best players in this conference down low. 33-plus points a game in the last 2 games.
McGee for 3, and he is fouled, and Darius McGee will have 3 free throws as he hits the deck hard.
These are head scratchers for coaches. You want guys to play hard, but you still have to have the composure. And I get it, contest, but he knew it the second he closed out just a little too hard. You want to close high, and what I mean by close high is you close to the level of the ball, not into the shooter. Easier said than done. This game moves fast, man. This isn't like the Y. This game moves fast. There's pace.
Especially in the championship matchup. Parker Hazen was called for the foul for Lipscomb. Darius McGee, how about the ups that this guy has? His standing vertical is at 38 inches, and he could go as high as 48 if he gets a running start. The sophomore at 5'9" out of Roxborough, North Carolina.
Yeah, I don't really have anything for that. I could jump in my day, but not like that. I used to celebrate smacking the backboard on a layup.
Fleming for Asajala, the mid-range jumper. Offensive rebound and the putback for Parker Hazen. Good position.
It's amazing. You just watch the defense. When the ball gets into Asajala's hands, watch the eyeballs of the defense. They all look at Asajala. So the opportunities for offensive rebounds will be there for Lipscomb, but I don't anticipate them sending more than 1 or 2 tops to the offensive glass.
Georgie Pacheco-Ortiz into the big guy, Myo Baxter-Bell. And Asajala clears it out.
Some big bodies down there. It's a heavyweight fight.
Asajala. And good touch around the rim.
Look, good touch, even better read. The slip screen is one of those ones. Teams have gotten a little bit better. I say a little bit better. College basketball's gotten a little bit better at defending the ball screen. So that means you got to be able to counter as an offense. And the first counter is a slip screen. Great read.
Tops in the ASUN field goal percentage because of plays like that. Here's McGee for three. And rebounded by KJ Johnson.
See, I would look to go back to that as soon as possible. If you clear aside two-man game and see how they defend that ball screen.
Steal from Myo Baxter-Bell.
Something special about the big fella getting the steal, taking it the length of the way. You can just feel it in the crowd.
Foul as KJ Johnson had it for Lipscomb. And it'll take us to our first timeout. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. We'll talk about that when we come back to Lynchburg, Virginia. Stay tuned. Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal Financial Group, Investments, Retirement Insurance, and Lexus. Experience amazing. How about last year's ASUN champions, the Liberty Flames, and they did it against Lipscomb on the road in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, and that was a terrific game as well. I was really impressed with Liberty and their ability to create offense when they needed offense. I think that's been the question, right? Question is, if you play great defense, if you slow the game down, you play that pack line, can you score when you need a bucket? Well, they did just that, did it on the road. But again, two teams that had great success in the postseason. You know, Liberty beating Mississippi State on 30 points from Caleb Homesley, and Lipscomb going all the way to the NIT Final Four.
Here's our principal need to know. I should take a look at some of the notes here. Liberty with their second straight championship game appearance, and Richie McKay has really got this thing moving now here at Liberty. I mean, we were walking around in this facility, this campus. It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is a special place. I just wonder if I would look good in those glasses. You know what I mean? Some people make something look so cool, and then you try it yourself, and you just feel like a total goof.
Yeah, I don't know about that look on you.
I think I'm.
Yeah.
I've accepted my fate. I have limitations. It's like my game.
Scotty James is called for the foul for Liberty, and this is Parker Hazen at the free throw line.
Scotty James is a guy you really need on the floor. You need him on the floor for as much as you want him. I really feel like it's got to be 28 to 30 minutes today. And what I mean by is you can't go to rotations that are forced by fouls. Those are the rotations that really mess you up as a team.
James double team right down on him, and Homesley in a cut.
Every good defense has a counter, and you as a good defense have to be prepared for the counter. Not prepared. If you're going to double, you got to take that cut away. Can't get face cut and can't get away with not having help in position. That's just too easy for the best scorer in the conference.
Free ball on the way for Lipscomb. That's not there from Miles Miller. Yeah, it seemed like Liberty had that one ready. They knew that double team was coming. That cut from Homesley, easy too.
You got to watch eyeballs. Are the eyeballs watching the ball, or the eyeballs watching the defense? You're not reading the basketball as an offense, you're reading the defense. You know, it sounds really basic and elementary, but it's harder than you think it is.
Rising up, Homesley.
I'm telling you, look, DeAndre Hunter. What made Virginia last year a championship team is when they had offensive scores. They had guys that could go out and get there as well. That's exactly what Caleb Homesley is. That's another turnover, a few empty possessions, and this crowd's really feeling it.
Well, Champ Week rolls on later. We've got two more women's title games coming your way on ESPN2. The Big Ten Championship game at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, followed by the Pac-12 at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And, of course, you can always watch them live on the ESPN app from anywhere you are. ESPN Champ Week is presented by Principal.
It's true. Anywhere you are, anywhere you're at, you can pull it up. I do.
This week is fun.
Oh, man.
All got going yesterday. Homesley off the window. Heads up.
They have little pyrotechnics here, and that shot goes in and the little fire goes off. What an electric environment, man.
timeout, Lipscomb. Back in 30 seconds.
Homesley, ASUN Player of the Year, one of the best scorers you're going to find really in the country. And when this shot's falling, look, you're not supposed to make those threes off the glass. Yeah, exactly. He didn't draw it up that way, but you'll take it. The pyrotechnics go off, and the crowd goes crazy.
Awesome environment here today. The final game of the Vine Center. This place has been here for 30 years. And Liberty's going for their 30th win of the season. They move to a new arena right next door to this place next season. Here's the three on the way. Shiloh Robinson, that's off.
And this is a really important possession for Lipscomb. You've got to get something that gives you confidence. And when I say gives you confidence, it's not even a made basket. It's a good look. I feel like the last few possessions, they haven't gotten a good look. It's been a couple turnovers and really no rhythm offensively.
Well, and a couple of quick shots, too.
Yeah, and I get that. Like in a championship situation, you want to take over the game. You want to fix all your problems in one shot. Been there. Doesn't mean it's going to work.
Andrew Fleming on the step back. And that's a long two. And there you go.
It's a big shot, and I'm not sure that was a great shot, but I actually love the moxie from a guy who's willing to take it, and he had a great game in the semifinals. Hit big shots when they needed them, created offense when they needed it. A big one down the stretch to win it.
Fleming has tournament experience for sure. It was at Iowa initially in Chattanooga. He went to the tournament there. And now a three ball by Georgie Pacheco-Ortiz for Liberty.
KJ Johnson for Lipscomb just kind of throwing his hands up, a little miscommunication, and that's the biggest challenge when you're on the road in a loud environment is communicating defensively.
56% clip for Liberty so far in this first half. 3 of 7 from three-point range. Asajala being hounded. Hazen. That's another big shot for the Bisons.
That was great defense, too. It's just that better offense always beats good defense. I almost felt like that shot was blocked, but he somehow got it to go. Defense has been locked in. They're going under screens on the bigs. They're not giving up that drive. That was just a tough finish.
Posted up is Myo Baxter-Bell and finds the cutter, and it's Robinson. Ten-point lead for the Flames. What do you want here? What do you want to have it?
I think you got to play through the big and Asajala and just hope he makes a good decision. I'd really get the ball back in his hands, play off him in a ball screen situation or through him in the post.
Well,
but not that.
That's not what they did, and it's off to the races for Cuffee. Winner to the NCAA tournament. You think they're jacked up here in Lynchburg, Virginia, or what? Flames by a dozen. Liberty's opened up a 12-point advantage here in the ASUN championship game, 30-18 with 6:48 to play first half. Mike Corey and John Chrisman, who's been over on the Liberty sideline right now as they've got the lead up to a dozen. Played really well right now, right, John?
Oh, look, they sure are. I just sat in on the Liberty huddle, played a little sideline reporter myself, and what Coach Richie McKay was talking about, he said, guys, it's a long game. I think they should have a lot of confidence in what they're doing on both sides of the ball, but a long game, you got to stick with your defense, but also continue to make those good reads on the offensive end. A lot of poise in that huddle, and I think that should give you confidence if you're a Liberty fan.
And also solid defense for the Flames here as well, as Asajala is unable to convert. He was hitting early for Lipscomb. He's got 8 points to lead the team, but they're down by 12. In the corner for three, Elijah Cuffee. Up to 63% shooting for the Flames right now, and literally they are on fire as they lead it by 15. Coming back for three. Wow, Fleming. That was big, the senior from Nashville.
What'd I miss? Anything?
No, that was, how crazy was it over there right now, this atmosphere?
You know what?
They said.
It was crazy, but you gotta love the poise from Richie McKay. I mean, he's barely sweating. He's just telling his guys, look, it's a long game, guys. It's a long game. Let's be patient. Let's still be aggressive. But at the same time, there's a reason why you're off to a nice start. There are a lot of simple things that they do that they've had success with earlier in this game, and you've got to be prepared for counters, but at the same time, you yourself need to be able to counter some of the things that they're going to change defensively for Lipscomb.
ASUN Sajala. And he's just a little off right now. Boy, they've kind of got to him on the defensive end, haven't they?
It's really about making a guy think. If you want to coach a team, especially at the younger levels, make a guy think. Don't try to stop everything that they do. Make him think. Make him guess where that double's going to come from. Make him guess if the double's coming at all.
Caleb Homesley. Wild runner doesn't go. Rebound by Fleming. Lipscomb's come up with a couple of timely baskets, and I say that even though they're down by 12, John. They've hit some big shots to make sure this doesn't get up to a 20-point game.
Well, they've got great experience. I think that's really the biggest key for Lipscomb. And no one expected, we go back to December, even January, no one expected them to be in this case. They've won 9 out of their last 11. They figured out how to win with this unit. No Garrison Matthews this year. That guy was terrific. Two-way player in the NBA right now out of Lipscomb.
Well, they lost over 7,700 points from last year's team. And as they were picked 4th in the conference this season, but they certainly turned it on, as you said. Coach said, we're going to sink or swim. And he had a conversation with his team, and they certainly swam as they are now in the championship game for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
Well, and it's great playing through a big and ASUN Sajala, but I think you need that good balance around the perimeter. You got to find out who it's going to be. It might be Andrew Fleming.
And he is fouled. So Fleming will head to the free throw line. Cuffee picks up the ticket. And we'll step aside. 3:45 left in the first half of the ASUN Championship from Lynchburg, Virginia. All right, Kevin, guys, thanks for the much.
Absolutely, I love seeing it go through the hoop. And what's Bryce talking about? Oh, it's a pretty good crowd. Are you kidding me? This crowd is terrific. We got a guy dressed in a poo emoji costume. I didn't even know those existed.
You better get your season tickets now for Liberty basketball next year. This place holds over 9,500, and it's packed. Their new arena, it's going to be about 4,000.
Everybody should take a lesson out of their playbook. No reason to build a massive arena. I always, as a Penn State guy playing in the Bryce Jordan Center, I always said, can we just play in front of 6,500 packed crowd? I'd rather have that, but you know, sometimes you got to build a place for monster trucks and Billy Joel and WWE or whatever else you got.
Well, it's packed here today, that's for sure. And the home court advantage that Liberty has had has been outstanding as Homesley takes it to the rack. I mean, they're working on 21 straight here at home and a perfect record in the Vine Center.
Look, I don't like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This kid's earning a paycheck for his future right now. I mean, he really has shown that he can play at a higher level. He's got good feel for the game. Like I've said before, lefties are just a different cover.
Sajala blocked from behind by James, and it's out of bounds to Liberty as Lipscomb touched it last.
The thing with having the best player on the floor is it gives you confidence. It gives guys confidence that otherwise aren't the greatest scorers. They're not even the best defenders. But when you have the player on the floor that can go out and get a bucket against anybody, sometimes 2-3 guys, you have confidence as a unit. And I think that's what Liberty has more so than anything else. They also have identity. Identity is something that so many programs are searching for but struggle to find.
Well, they're also shooting excellent here in this first half at 57%. A 14-point advantage now. Homesley, another NBA range three! Well, I don't know what you can do about that. And he hit one like that earlier from that distance, but off the backboard. Fleming. The follow is not there from Hazen, but he got fouled.
I like Hazen on the offensive glass. He's gotten active, especially when those shots, those tough runners, you've got to get somebody up on the offensive glass, but there's nothing you can do about this. I'm not putting him in the category, but LeBron's been doing that where he steps out further and further. He's shooting 40-foot threes. Caleb Homesley doesn't need to shoot 40-footers, but to cover 30 feet from the basket is such a difficult ask for Lipscomb. I'd run two at him.
Yeah.
I would just show two. That way you can pressure up. If you show a second defender, a help defender, at least just even fake the show. Just be present. Apply a little bit more pressure around the perimeter.
You talked about Homesley and his ability at the next level. What are you seeing as he's going to step out now? And what do you think that he can work on if he's going to be successful?
I'm not even you have to be an NBA guy to really play at the next level. The next level is professional basketball. He could play 15 years overseas and make a ridiculous amount of money that anybody in this crowd would be happy to have. So that to me is success. Whether he makes an NBA team or not is not the issue. To me, this is a guy who can make a career in basketball as a player, and there's very few of them, especially at this level, the mid-major level.
Point well taken. Baxter-Bell to the hole, and they have gotten a step on the Lipscomb defenders tonight on some easy ones to the hoop.
Well, part of it is you make baskets. You make baskets, defense gets hung up on their man. They don't want to leave a man and give up another easy basket, so the spacing's been really good for Liberty.
Fleming. And leads in, gets the foul, and gets the basket.
You see the experience in that play, right? It's the type of experience that'll win you games in the men's league 20 years from now, too. It's just, you know, as the legs fade, you got to use the head fakes, the ball fakes, the body fakes. Fleming does that very well, and he also understands his team needs a basket badly. You've given up 40 points to a team that limits its opponents to 53. Right? You're giving up 40 points in the first half, and they limit their opponents to 53. You can't feel too good about that going into the locker room, so you've got to find something that gives you a little momentum headed into the half.
Well, this is the third matchup of these two teams this season, each one on their home floor. Liberty won here at home by 7, and Lipscomb won at home by 6 in the last game of the regular season. Homesley was going to put that one up again. Myo Baxter-Bell got it stripped, but a foul is called.
Well, let's go back to this. Liberty won the NCAA tournament in that 5-12, that dreaded 5-12 matchup. And it was actually a team that I picked to win in the NCAA tournament last year. And very rarely am I right, but I think I had something there. This year, a little bit different because they have the ability to score. And again, very similar to Virginia last year. NCAA tournament champions. Why? Because they could score the basketball. That's what Liberty's got this year. They've got weapons. They've got options.
ASUN went to the bench. He's got 2 fouls. Probably won't see him for the rest of the first half here with just 55 seconds. 3 ball again. And that's Elijah Cuffee, and that's his 3rd. Making his 2nd. They've hit 6 as a team, and they're shooting 50% from 3-point range. Johnson lost it. Look at Myo Baxter-Bell.
I don't think he could have jumped over a phone book. He barely left the ground, but you can't even get too close to him because you bounce right off that body, but he handles it so well. This thing could get ugly quickly here.
1 second, good if it goes. And what a first half for the Liberty Flames.
They had everything working. Even Myo Baxter-Bell getting out easy layups in transition. The big fella.
Time now for the Audi halftime report. Let's get you to Kevin Connors, Dave Padgett, and Bryce Drew, guys. Championship is part of ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. 19-point lead for the home team, the Liberty Flames, trying to make it back-to-back appearances in the NCAA tournament. And off to the flaming hot start here, to be honest with you. And what a first half here as we welcome you back to Lynchburg, Virginia. Mike Corey and John Crispin, the onslaught is on. I mean, what happened there in that first frame?
Well, a lot of confidence on the offensive end for Liberty. They got it going with good decisions, good reads. And when you make good reads, you get easy baskets. And that's exactly how this thing started. Simple read here on the pick and roll. Help is just a second too late. Scotty James gets a basket. And then the rumbling stumbling, the big fella barely gets over the painted line on that elevation, but he got it to go, and he gets the crowd going. And when you make bank shot threes from 30 feet, yeah, it's just demoralizing as a defense. They've gotten it going. They really have offensively. And as I mentioned, you got 45 points on the board if you're Liberty, and you only give up 53 points a game. They're on pace to do just that. Hard to imagine a comeback, but I've seen crazier things in March.
Here's a look at our Travelocity game track for you. 45 points in that first half has tied an ASUN tournament record that they had 45 on Thursday versus Stetson. And most in a first half in the tournament game. You know, it's just crazy because they hit their shots. They were 6 of 12 from three-point range. Big threes. Crowd was into it the entire first half. I agree with you. It's going to be pretty tough here for Lipscomb, but, you know, they've done some good things this season after really being dead in the water in the middle of this year.
Oh, without a doubt, but it's going to get even tougher here if Liberty's able to start this second half off with a good offensive possession. Now, I like this. A little mix-up here. It looks more like a matchup. Lipscomb staying a little bit more at home defensively. More communication is going to be required.
Lipscomb was a team that was in 8th place. Got their way up to the 3rd seed. Won their first 2 games of this tournament. And in back-to-back championship game appearances, they lost last year at home to this Liberty team. Here's James, rebound by Fleming.
I would say if you play that defense, you may not give up a lot of baskets, but it's hard to get back into the game. You've got to have to pressure at some point if you're Lipscomb. Pick up the pace of this game.
Free ball is off by Buckland. Here's Homesley. Cuffee, he was able to knock down some threes first half. This is his first one here, but it's tipped back out to McGee. McGee for 3.
It's a good offensive action, but the activity on the offensive glass, it shows not a buy-in, but almost an attention to detail for Liberty that Lipscomb's got to get if they want to get back in this game. And part of that is just creating better energy here in the early parts of the second half for Lipscomb.
Well, and this guy, too, 23, ASUN. And there's going to be a foul on James. And that's going to be Scotty James' 3rd personal foul. That's going to change things. And so the senior transfer from Bradley, he's going to have to go out. But how about this guy, Myo Baxter-Bell, a fan favorite here, is back in at 6'5", 270. And he had some fun plays in that first half.
Favorite, but I'm not sure how many minutes he's really going to give you. And that's the thing. I mean, can he play 8 to 10 straight minutes? I think that's what you need right now.
Well, he's going to have to guard Asajula. But it's McGee that comes in and gets a steal. Homesley with a game-high 14 points from that first half as he goes to work inside. Blocked by Asajula. And he shows it on the defense and the offensive end.
Well, that was a great adjustment. That's one of those counters you're talking about. The counters are not just within the team. The counters are also the individuals. He realized that they've been digging down, so you've got to show the basketball. A little fake pass created enough space to turn, get to that right shoulder, left hook.
He's a guy that's averaging 33.5 points and 16.5 rebounds throughout the first 2 games of this tournament. And Lipscomb gets it back on the turnover.
Yeah, and this is what I talk about. You've got to adjust to this. Baxter-Bell's not going to give up too much ground, but here's the dig down. The dig down is what got that ball stolen. Now, Asajula made the adjustment on the next play. He saw the defense, a little look away, got the defense to be honest, and then he was able to make a one-on-one play. Let's see if he can do it again.
Inside, it's blocked by Homesley.
Oh, he went right into the defense. You've got to read where the defense is at. The help side was on the opposite side of the block. Don't go into him. spin back to that right block. That's where you're going to have the ISO opportunity. Again, all these things sound great in theory. Against the Monday morning quarterback, it ain't that easy, people.
McGee slashes inside. Baxter-Bell for 3.
Oh my gosh, the place would have gone crazy.
He took the ball up the court, went coast to coast, and laid it in earlier in the first half. And this 3 is off by Fleming. Tipped again. Cuffee's played hard today for Liberty with a rebound.
I just think Liberty in general has played a very good basketball game. I know that sounds like Captain Obvious considering how much they're up, but they've been locked in. And I go back to that timeout, sat in on the timeout, and Richie McKay just said, guys, it's a long game. And what he was really saying was, guys, we just got to do the simple things. We got to do the little things. That's what got us the lead, and that's what will get us a victory.
Homesley off the mark. They had a program record 29 wins last year. They're going to top that if they get this win here today with 30. Be 30-4 heading into the NCAA tournament if they can hang on in this one. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. For both these programs. I mean, you can't say enough about how important these programs are to the ASUN Conference. Lenny Acuff, too. I mean, kind of dead in the water in December, January. Like I mentioned before, as Sajula gets that shot to go. Winners the last, they're 9 of their last 11. That says a lot about the buy-in to this program. I think we're still going to have a tight finish here. 15-point game. Liberty's got to get it rolling again. Liberty holds 15-point lead over Lipscomb, but if Lipscomb's going to come back in this game, it's got to be on the backs of the biggest black, and that is ASUN Sajula. This is a guy who can dominate a basketball game if he's got the ball in the right position. He's gotten much better at countering what the defense has taken away. I think he's got to start to demand the ball a little bit more, be more efficient when he gets the ball in scoring position. ASUN Sajula, as I said, one of the biggest backs for this team. He's the guy that can carry your team down the stretch.
Just a sophomore, folks. An impressive company over the last 32 years. The only player alongside of Ben Simmons to average 18 points, 10 rebounds, and at least 4 assists per game. That's pretty impressive.
And they play through him a lot. That's the thing. In this game, college game, if you have a good passing big, you can beat anybody in the country. It's the hardest thing to defend. And I think guys like Marc Gasol, but also a lot of the EuroLeague styles played through their bigs. Their bigs are some of their best passers, and it is the hardest thing to defend.
14-point lead here for Liberty. There's Miller on a nice drive to the hole for Lipscomb.
But even that's a byproduct of playing through ASUN Sajula. He goes to that dribble handoff, sets the ball screen. You've got to freeze as a defender to make sure you take the roll away, and then it's an ISO opportunity for your guard.
Crowd starting to come alive again here as the lead is dipping down a little, and not anymore as a 3-ball goes in by McGee.
It's a huge answer. That is an absolutely huge answer. Haven't really had the energy in the building to start the second half until Lipscomb made a little run.
Inside, and once again, Sajula responds.
Well, I go back to it. Does Baxter-Bell have, I don't mean to put this on him as a big fella, but does he have the fitness, right? Does he have the cardio to fight and play defense early? Because you got to play defense early. What that means is you win the position battle first. You don't just defend back behind the ball.
McGee!
Or you can just score more than your opponent, whatever. You get 2, we get 3. Reminds me of high school.
How many deep threes has Liberty hit here today? A couple from McGee. Homesley's had 2 from beyond NBA range. I mean, that's 12 points right there, and it's a 16-point game. Jones for 3. Homesley skying for it.
And that time defensively, Baxter-Bell did a great job, not really fronting and getting around the side, but slowly pushing Sajula further and further from the basket. That's where he's going to be most comfortable defending him. Unless you're 6'10", 7 feet, you've got to be able to move that offensive player off the block. Move him off his line. Make him play from a position where he's just not at his best.
Well, coming up tonight, the Vipers are in LA to take on Josh Johnson and the Wildcats. XFL action, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Get ready for that later tonight. Here today, They're ready to punch another ticket to the NCAA tournament. ASUN championship game coming to you from Lynchburg, Virginia. Mike Corey, John Chrisman. 16-point lead for the Flames here, who look for their 30th win of the season. There's Myo Baxter-Bell. Foul on Asajala, and he can only smile after he picks up his third.
Baxter-Bell gains just a little bit of ground every time he dribbles the basketball. Look how low he gets. He's low to the ground, gaining space. There it is. I mean, not much of a foul. I don't know if that's really a foul at all. But I really, you got to commend Baxter-Bell, the energy he's put forth, the energy he's brought to this building is probably the most important energy he's got.
That really is. His 100th career game today, too, here at Liberty. Just an energy and a spark plug off the bench, and we've seen it. He's done a little bit well in all areas.
It looks like Scotty James going to come back into this game, and I wonder if it's... I like it. I'm looking at the time, and you say, if you can give me a good 4 minutes...
Well, maybe it's just to the media timeout. You know, you get a couple in there.
Not on defense, because now he's got to defend. I mean, I would say this is to see if he can play in the next 4 minutes, spell him for a little bit, get Scotty James back in to close the game out.
Lead is 17.
Sajala's got to go right at him, though. Get into a position where you can score.
Oh, nice pass. Finding the cutter, and that's Michael Buckland.
Yeah, to go back to it. If you have a good passing big and you play with a lot of those rub screens, you create just enough space and you have a guy you can trust to make that pass. It's tough to defend.
Now it's James as he go right at Asajala, trying to get him his fourth.
I think for James, you got to feel the game out a little bit more. Don't force anything. Just feel the game out. Because that's where you pick up. You force something, you end up picking up that offensive foul.
Bad pass, interception, and Jones takes it in for Lipscomb. That's Greg Jones on the drive for two.
There's something about getting this thing to 10 or under 10.
Right.
You get this thing to single digits, you feel like it's a basketball game even though you're on the road. Even though you're going against defense, like you said, doesn't give up but 53 points a game.
McGee. Wow. How does that happen? 5'9" through the trees for the two.
It happens because he has great feel. And he's able to elevate just enough. Almost picked his side last second. There's another one. Good passing big. It allows your guards to make a read. And the read is what the defense is taking away, not what the ball is able to do.
Well, you can see how Asajala averages over 4 assists the ball game. Just a couple there back-to-back on the cutter. And I'm with you and seeing if they can try to get this to single digits, but again, Liberty keeps them at bay. Another three. It's Elijah Cuffee.
Right now, Liberty has had an answer for every little Lipscomb run. And really, it's been the three ball. It's been the three ball drive and kick. Those are those high percentage rhythm threes. Liberty's got it. The bench is feeling it. All sorts of confidence from this team. I tell you, this is a dangerous postseason Liberty Flames team.
West Coast tomorrow, semifinals. Gonzaga, San Francisco, BYU, St. Mary's. What do you think about Gonzaga this year, John? I am actually going to be picking them to win it all this year.
I can see it. I think there's too much of a reliance on the bigs, though. I think they've been able to dominate with the bigs, and the NCAA tournament tells me everything is something every year, and it's that guards really matter. Guards can actually dictate the rhythm and flow of the game, and I feel like the guards have to be better for Gonzaga to win a national championship. Now, at the same time, BYU, on the other hand, I would not want to see them in my region. They are dangerous, and we forget that Yoeli Childs didn't start the season. Was suspended. We didn't really get to see a team develop chemistry throughout the course of the year, but now you're seeing it come together for BYU. Mark Pope's done a terrific job with that program.
Oh, man. I mean, they only have 7 players averaging double figures in scoring, right? I mean, it's crazy.
And they're defending just a little bit better.
Sure. Well, the top seeds right now. A lot to happen here this week as Cuffee hits another three. This is unreal.
They're 10 for 21 from 3 right now, and it's not that they're just making tough shots. I mean, they made some tough ones in the first half. Caleb Homesley hit some long ones. They even banked one in. but they're getting good looks. Those are in-rhythm threes, and it may look contested, but if you're able to step into that shot, those are what I would consider high percentage threes.
Season high 16 for him on 4 threes. Hazen wasn't even looking for that pass. And now here's Jones, and he is fouled. You think about it, John, all the energy that's expended by Lipscomb, and it's the same situation at the half. 19 points. The deficit. We'll be back. Performance Above brought to you by Jersey Mike's.
Liberty has gotten things going from above, but also from deep. And it's, I don't want to say it started with this, but this was just one of them. You bank in a three, it's amazing what it does. It's just giving you confidence going forward. And it's been by committee. I mean, they've gotten these threes to go by driving, by kicking, and finding the open man. Unselfishness gets you the best shot, but aggressiveness makes you most of those shots.
Now, Cuffee's been outstanding, one of Coach's first recruits. He went to high school right next door at Liberty Christian Academy. His senior year, he's been an elite defender and also a scorer with 4 threes today. Part of this run to get them up 19. And there's a foul and a rebound, and it's on Lipscomb, and it's going to be on Asajala, and that's going to be his 4th.
Well, and at this point, I would take him out. Maybe think offense, defense at this point. You can't have him in the basketball game on the defensive end. That's just a tough one. It's just such an unfortunate. Yeah, they're going to take him out. I don't know if I agree. It's just an air ball. And air balls always seem to favor the offense, but not in that case. It's unfortunate.
We still have 10 minutes to go, but Asajala on the bench with 4 personal fouls, the leader for Lipscomb. And Liberty just has been tacking it on here. James.
That's great execution of the high-low. If you don't hold that front, you got no help behind. Caleb Homesley cut away, which took any help away from it. No dig down. It's going to be ISO in the paint.
Fleming. And the foul is called on Homesley, his 2nd for Liberty.
Liberty's been, I mean, like, they've been really good making shots, but they've also been executing really well. They've been methodical in so many ways. I look at that high-low. That was set up. That was by design. The entire set was to get that high-low look, and when you got the ISO, it was just clear and go to work.
Well, they've also done a really good job on the defensive end, right? Of changing things up on Asajala and making him think.
Are you surprised? These guys give up 53 points a game. I mean, it's unbelievable how good they are. They're locked in defensively. We talk a lot about the pack line and what it really is, but the truth is they understand the rotations and they never get, too far out over their skis. I think I'd get a skiing reference.
There you go.
It's like out-punting your coverage.
Trying to get it back to James. It's intercepted. Miller. See, it's tough now. You don't have that inside presence.
You don't have that inside presence, which means you got to create space. You've got to do a better job of creating space and run cutters through the lane, but those cutters have to vacate the lane. You can't stand. You want to vacate, widen out that defense, and try to attack with a bounce if you can.
James. Scotty James backing his way in on Hazen. He got the block. Nice job there by Parker Hazen.
That was great defense. You give just enough ground not to pick up a foul, but also to maintain your balance, and then time it right. Good jump, good block.
And James gets in there, gets a steal. And it's showtime. .23-point lead. And what about Scotty James? We'll explain when we come back. How about the senior Scotty James from Liberty? Started his career at Bradley. His mother, Christy James, a professor here at Liberty, transfers here. And then Coach McKay officiated his wedding. He got married this past summer in Florida to his high school sweetheart, Delaney.
Would you have said, look, Coach McKay, basketball coach or pastor? I'd probably say pastor if I just look at him.
Right. It's the second one he's done, actually. And
That's
there's
awesome.
Scotty James. How about his mother, Christy, was a professor here at Liberty. She reached out to the coaching staff, actually, and said, you got to take a look at my son here. Watch this film. And they said, oh, okay. But they did, and he came here for a visit. And, of course, the rest is history.
I think it's a great story, and it's worked out for Liberty and Scotty James and his family. Obviously, Coach McKay got wedding number 2 under his belt, or maybe that was 1. I don't really know the whole story. You read game notes more than I do, apparently.
It was his second.
That wasn't, they didn't have the wedding on Synergy, so I must have missed it.
Working inside for the basket is Andrew Fleming for Lipscomb. They still trail by 20-plus here.
It's so hard to do those little things really well when you're down. Right there, you saw a couple curl screen action, and they got the defense chasing. You get just enough space for the entry pass and a layup. It's hard to do that when you're down because you feel like you need to get the whole game back in one possession.
Myo Baxter-Bell. Wild spin. Asajala the rebound. He's back in with those 4 personal fouls.
Okay, Jay Johnson with the hair pulled the chair on him, and he just lost his balance.
Asajala, mid-range. Got it. Is there enough time here, though? That's the thing. 7 minutes to go.
Hard to imagine considering the way Liberty can defend. The thing is, Liberty's not defending as well as they can because I don't think they have to. And I don't mean that it's not a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that they've been able to score. It's not a knock on Lipscomb, but Liberty's been able to score when they need buckets. And I think at times you lax a little bit offensively, and sometimes you give some things up defensively to get flow and rhythm. And when you're making shots, you want that offensive flow going your way.
See if Lipscomb can take advantage of the turnover. Asajala. Bodies inside. There's going to be a foul. Baxter-Bell. That's his second. Champ Week rolls on. We've got 2 more women's title games your way here on ESPN2. The Big Ten Championship game at 6 o'clock Eastern, followed by the Pac-12 at 8 Eastern. That's coming up tonight on ESPN2 and live on the ESPN app. Champ Week presented by Principal. Asajala. Just a sophomore, John. I mean, it's hard to think about that, right? I mean, he tore his ACL his freshman year. He redshirted. Hasn't had any issues since. Last year, he averages just over 7 points and 4 rebounds a game. He's completely doubled both of those numbers this season.
Yeah, and I think you've got to remember, redshirt sophomore means he's been in college for 3 years. There's discipline involved in that, right? There's expectation there. He understands what it's like. Look, college is teaching guys how to become pros. That's the thing. We don't give college enough credit. Like, you're learning a lot of good things. You're learning about expectation. You're learning about accountability. And Asajala has been terrific. He's learned a lot his freshman year by sitting out, but he's developed over the course of the past 2 playing.
And he's learning as he's a 3.6 GPA in finance as well. So that's probably the most important thing right there. It's a pretty well-rounded athlete as Buckland picks up the foul for Lipscomb on this possession. And he's been 1 away from a triple-double about 3 times this season. And they're going to really need him to step up here late with 6 minutes left if they want to have a crazy comeback here on the road. Homesley. That was bound to happen one time, right? They hit 2 of them from that area earlier today.
Do you think we'll ever see the James Harden quadruple double in college? I think coaches would never allow it. Like, I don't think you're allowed to have 10 turnovers in a game if you play in college. You'd be on the bench so fast.
You would.
I would.
I hear you.
So that wasn't that good, so that explains more.
All right, Asajala again, 64-48 now.
You've got to be really good to have 10 turnovers. I'm just saying. You got to be really good. And I think right now Lipscomb's got to be better offensively. Just don't get complacent. You want to play to win this game. Don't play not to lose.
Homesley.
That helps. Space, get to the basket. That's what you want if you're Liberty. That's the recipe for success down the stretch.
Fleming gets deep inside and hits it. And a timeout is taken. Lenny Acuff stops the clock with 4:59 remaining. His team is within 16 And we will step aside for 30 seconds. Back to Lynchburg, Virginia in just a little bit. Stay tuned. Liberty trying to make it back-to-back ASUN champions and heading to the NCAA tournament if they can hang on here. Lipscomb, the 2018 winner. And of course, we remember the run that Florida Gulf Coast had.
I mean, look, this has been a strong conference when they get to the NCAA tournament. They've been competitive teams. And I think a lot of that has to go to coaching, too. You can't give coaches enough credit. I don't think they get enough credit because it's not just the stuff you see on the floor that they do. People think the best coaches are X and O's coaches. It's not just that. They do a lot more than X's and O's.
Now, you had said it earlier. Is it tough to prepare for these type of teams, or just kind of a... I mean, because Liberty won a game in the tournament last year.
Yeah, I think it's hard to prepare for a team that knows how to defend in Liberty, where they can take so many things away. It forces you into counters. And there are high major programs out there, I'm not calling anybody out, that have won with a lot of talent. And those are the teams. If I'm picking upsets in the NCAA tournament, I'm picking the teams that have won with talent, which means they haven't had to be prepared with counters. They haven't had to make a ton of adjustments. The adjustments are be better than the other team. That's not good enough. I think this is a Liberty team that can beat a lot of highly talented teams in the NCAA tournament.
McGee for a long three.
The issue will be the length. You know, if they come up against a lengthy team that can take those three-point shot opportunities away, force you into a driving team, that'd be tough for Liberty. But Caleb Homesley's another guy, 30 points in the NCAA tournament last year.
KJ Johnson, count the basket. Chance for a three-point play. And it is now a 14-point ball game with 4:10 remaining.
So how long has it been since he's cut his hair? I mean, clearly
sophomore year of high school.
He's got the sides and the back cleaned up. It's not unruly outside of what he's got up top. Sophomore year in high school.
Yeah.
I don't hold on to anything that long.
He cut it, and he said he didn't have a great game afterward. He said, I haven't cut it since. And it's been quite some time for the two-time Mr. Tennessee basketball out of Lewisburg, Tennessee. Still 66-52 now, coming up on 4 minutes left.
Still say get it to under 10, and you've got a ball game.
Myo Baxter-Bell over Osagila. He's got the 4 fouls. He's got to watch
That's exactly what it was. You saw there was no real resistance. He didn't even get the arm bar from Osagila.
Osagila on the offensive end. We get it right back.
Another great read. Another great read. You know, kind of show the screen, slip it. He's got good footwork, and he also has soft touch.
McGee. Trouble in the backcourt. He stepped out of bounds on the sideline. Well, we shall see if Lipscomb can make this comeback. They've got 3:22 left, or will it be back-to-back ASUN championships for Liberty? We'll find out shortly. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal Financial Group, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Boost Mobile. Step up with Boost Mobile and get a super reliable, super fast network. All right, Kevin, thanks very much. Hey, what a job by Tulsa this season. I mean, they were picked in 10th place in the American, and they have a chance to be the #1 seed. Good job by Frank Haith and company.
Well, what it tells me, too, is confidence is everything. If you're able to build confidence, if you're able to feel good about what you do and feel good about the guys that you're playing with, feel good about the locker room, and feel good about practices, it's amazing what you can do. There's a ton of talent out there. That's the parity we talk about in college basketball.
Fleming is fouled. And that helps to stop the clock as Homesley picks up his third. 3:08 remaining. 14-point deficit. And it's Andrew Fleming, who started his career at Iowa and went to Chattanooga. Now here at Lipscomb. He played in the NCAA tournament with Iowa in 2016 and Lipscomb when they went in 2018.
Yeah, that's a guy with experience. He's a guy with big game experience, understands what it takes to win. Just they don't really have it tonight.
He was the one that had the game-winning floater in the semifinals to even get Lipscomb to this opportunity with a win over North Florida. McGee ahead of the park. Foul on Homesley, but how about Darius McGee, John? 48-inch vertical for the 5'9" sophomore.
Yeah, look, in the business, we call this a layout. You lay out when something like that happens. Crowd went nuts. I'll tell you, this has it's been electric. The environment, the plays, the players. This has really been an electric environment. And I got to say, I mean, 2:49 left, still a ball game. I don't want to call this thing over. But man, what a tough place to come in and win. Oh, by the way, no one's done it this year.
No, 16-0.
No
is
one's
Liberty
done
here
it.
at home.
Can't believe it's taken me that long to mention in that one.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of other good things to talk about, though. Even the guy in the Bison's costume doesn't look confident. I
mean, Liberty's had balanced scoring. Cuffee is at 4 threes. Homesley, and then McGee.
When you have it, you have it. When you don't, you don't. And I know that sounds really simple, but when the ball moves and guys get open shots, the defense flows to the guy that just made the shot. Why? Because subconsciously we're fully aware. So next guy's going to be open. If you make that shot, defense is going to chase to that guy. It kind of success breeds success type of thing.
Yeah.
Balance breeds balance. You also share the ball with a lot more confidence. And if they do this beyond this game, then look out.
2:20 left. Shot clock at 2. Baxter-Bell almost brought the roof off here at the Vine Center. And its final game here, by the way, in its 30 years of existence. As this ball's knocked out of bounds off the leg of K.J. Johnson.
What do you think? McGee dunk or a Baxter-Bell dunk? What would bring this place down? Oh, Baxter-Bell might bring the rim down.
You're right. We might have a delay if that's the case. There's a foul on Greg Jones, his 4th. Crowd is sensitive. Baxter-Bell saying, hey, everybody. The 7,728 here, the highest in ASUN championship history. Witnessing this game today from Lynchburg, Virginia.
I mean, if you're Liberty, you understand, like, you have a great chemistry to this group. You have good balance to this group. You have good personalities. You've got to capitalize on it, and I got to say they've done that tonight. They came out strong, and their defense hasn't had to be as good as it normally is because their offense has been rolling.
There's Baxter-Bell. Kicks it, Cuffee, another 3. That's way off. And it's a shot clock violation.
I don't think we've given enough love. I mean, mainly because of I think the high-end potential of Liberty, but also how dominant they've been. We haven't given enough love to Lipscomb. Lenny Acuff has done a terrific job with this program. Again, nearly left for dead. I think of him and Mick Cronin at UCLA. Program's almost left for dead at one point this season with high expectations, but they found a way to figure it out. They figured it out. They've got themselves back to where they usually are and in this conference championship game.
Sports Center comes your way tonight after the XFL's Vipers-Wildcats matchup. Kenny May, John Anderson, Lakers, Clippers reactions. 3 more tickets getting punched to the NCAA tournament. They'll talk about that, and we'll celebrate the first U.S. women's baseball team since World War II. Sports Center after the XFL tonight on ESPN. And Pac-12 hoops as well.
Yeah, Silver Bullets. You got to watch it. Women's baseball team. That was a really cool story. I got to see a little bit of that. I don't know, it was E60 or something. I'm helping ratings. I just have ESPN on in the hotel all day.
Homesley. Rebound to Sajula. It's only 1 minute left, though. There's a 13-point lead for the home team, the Flames. The crowd on their feet.
If you're filling out a bracket, you better pay attention to this Liberty Flames basketball team. They are legit, not just because they can defend, but they have winning habits. They have winning balance. They got winning personalities. And I believe whoever they play in the NCAA tournament, they expect to be able to beat him.
Here's Baxter-Bell for three. Exclamation point. It is 2 in a row to the NCAA tournament for the Liberty Flames, back-to-back ASUN champions. Myo Baxter-Bell put the cap on this one for the Liberty Flames, who have won 30 games, a school record, and are heading back to the NCAA tournament.
Oh, you can't say enough about the performance of this entire basketball team, but the contribution they got from Myo Baxter-Bell, I gotta say, man, this kid came in with great confidence, had to play significant minutes because of the foul trouble for Scotty James, but this Liberty team, watch out! Watch out if they're in your bracket. I'd be picking them in the first round.
What a win for Liberty. Final 73-57 as they go to the NCAA tournament. Back-to-back wins over Lipscomb, the ASUN champions in 2020. We will talk to Coach Richie McKay here from Liberty in just a little bit, but first, let's head you back to the studio. Kevin Connors, Bryce Drew, and David Padgett. Guys. Wow, look at this. This is crazy.